What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Game27, and once again, thank you for joining my channel. Yes, I want to talk about Sony because it seems that they filed a patent that has a handheld, or maybe it's a console/hybrid, whatever. They filed a patent back in 2015, and a lot of people thinking that they are trying to copy Nintendo. We don't know, but they do have a history of copying Nintendo because they seen that whatever Nintendo is doing very well. Let's just go back with the Wii. The motion controls was doing really well. It was basically very popular around that time, so they came out with their version of the motion controls with the PlayStation Move, and it wasn't as popular as the Wii. They made some money off of it, but Nintendo just killed everybody. Even though they tried, the Kinect still okay, but nobody could not be like Nintendo. Like, Nintendo had that motion controls on lockdown. So will Sony do the same thing with the Nintendo Switch, or are they going to copy exactly what Nintendo is doing, especially if the Switch have a, I guess if they have a success console/hybrid as the Wii. So if this is the case, then I think Sony will try to do this. So I'm going to basically analyze this and tell y'all exactly how I feel about this. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is those Joy-Cons. Basically, if you want to look at the Nintendo Switch version, of course you got the button layouts on both sides because Nintendo had took away the D-pad, and of course the D-pad and the analog stick are parallel from each other. So whenever you turn the Joy-Con sideways, it makes it a lot more comfortable playing video games. So if you want to go on the PlayStation side and look at, of course, they still got the D-pad on the left side. Of course, you got the buttons on the right side. So how would that work? Especially if they are diagonal from each other, the analog stick and the buttons on the right side, and you got the D-pad and the analog stick on the left side. They're diagonal from each other. So how would that work whenever you turn them sideways and play? So if that is the case, then how would that work? That's not even comfortable just even thinking about that. So that's why this is the question. Is it detachable or is it not detachable? Is it a Switch version of the PlayStation, or are we going to wind up having a dock and taking them to go and play it at home? There's a lot of questions that needs to be answered. So even though this was a patent back in 2015, does not mean that this is the final product. Does not mean that it's going to come out. But honestly, just looking at what Sony is doing, I think they are prepping up to make another handheld come out. I would love for them to make another handheld because the Vita was a good console. It just it came out at a bad time, and plus they did not support the Vita. If it had the kind of support that the PSP would have had, it would have sold a lot more. That's why it failed miserably. And it's still sold out there in Japan because it's a handheld market, but everywhere else it's not doing so well, especially in North America. Like, ain't nobody buying it. They don't got no games, for the American audience to enjoy, so that's why nobody ain't buying it. So if this is the case, or if they is coming back with another handheld, then how would they do this? Or they could have more third parties on board, more Western support on board. So I would love for them to come back. Because we need competition. Nintendo, they've been king of handhelds since they've been out in the 80s, since the original Game Boy. Nobody cannot touch Nintendo. It's one thing that they both can learn from each other, because Nintendo consoles, Nintendo's handhelds always triumph their consoles, and I guess that's the opposite of Sony. Their consoles always triumph their handhelds. So I think Sony should come back in the handheld market because competition is a lot better. We don't want just one handheld on the market. That's why we need more competition. That's why the Switch is coming out, because the Wii U is dead and Nintendo got a lot more games coming out, and their console is very anticipated, and it will make the gaming industry more healthier by creating more competition, because we need more than just Xbox to compete with Sony. And just look how the Xbox is competing with Sony. It's really not no competition, because Sony is outselling the Xbox One at a 2-to-1 ratio, or even more than that. And just look at the anticipation of the Switch, and looks like it's going to sell really well. So I think just by with Sony just looking at the promises, the potential with the Nintendo Switch, that's probably why they thinking about coming out with a with their version of the let's say PlayStation Switch, however you want to call it. So basically, I'm thinking that Sony is taking that wait and see approach to see if the Switch is going to take off really well. Will it be another Wii? If it is, then expect a PlayStation Switch to come out within the next couple of years. I guess the last thing I want to talk about the pricing of this PlayStation Switch. If this is the case, that it's going to be a 2-in-1 console / hybrid, then how would the pricing will be? Okay, just look at the fact that the Nintendo Switch is $300 and it has 1 teraflop. And look at the PS4, the standard PS4 is just almost twice as powerful as the Switch. It has 1.8 teraflops. So how would the pricing work? How can they get close to a $300 price tag with the Nintendo Switch, and especially if their tablet going to have a 1080p screen? Just, you know, let's just be honest. Sony love to one up people. They see that Nintendo has a 720p screen. They can have a 1080p screen. So I'm assuming that they're going to have a 1080p screen on the tablet. So how would the pricing would be if their screen is 1080p? And we know the higher resolution, the more battery that's going to drain. So, and plus the more the power, the more of the price. So how would that work if it's going to be a console / hybrid? Would it be $300 or would it be $400? Honestly, I'm going to the $400 side because that's a lot of power that's built within this handheld / console for a $300 price tag. So that's another thing that I want to talk to y'all about. So anyway, guys, y'all just give me y'all thoughts and y'all opinions on how y'all feel about this PlayStation / Switch hybrid console, whatever this thing is. So basically, I'm personally excited if this is true, because you know why? It creates competition, and competition makes the gaming industry more healthier than what it is right now. And last time I checked, the gaming industry racked up over $100 billion. That's a lot of money. I believe that was last year's results, $100 billion, and getting even more healthier by the day. So the more competition, the better. And you know, we need more than just Nintendo handhelds in the market. I would love for Sony to make a comeback. I love the Vita for what it was worth. It has some really good games, but it just didn't have enough. They dropped the support, kind of like, you know, people did with the Wii U. It was good for what it's worth, and it sucks that it basically just fell flat on this butt, because I felt the Vita could have been really something special, but I guess people just wasn't ready for that console-like a handheld on the go. That's basically what people call a console on the go. It was good to me. It was very comfortable. It was more comfortable than the 3DS. It was more powerful, and it had some good games. It's just not. It didn't have enough games. The 3DS just killed them. You know, it just killed them. So I would love for Sony to come back in this gaming industry on the handheld side and basically come back and make some noise. You know, if they come back with a Vita successor or come back with a Nintendo Switch-like console, whatever. Like the more, the better. Better the competition. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I want Sony out the gaming market because I want Nintendo to succeed. You know, of course, you got a lot of Nintendo guys that's been salty about this. Look, it's like this. I'm a gamer before I'm a Nintendo dude. I'm a gamer before I'm a Sega dude. A lot of y'all know that I love Sega. I've been Sega all my life. I love Sega. So I'm a gamer at the end of the day, man. If this is good for competition, then great. I'm a huge fan of gaming, and if it works, it works. It's cool. So like I said, y'all give me y'all thoughts and y'all opinions. Do y'all think this is going to come true, or do y'all think it's just some prototype in which it's gonna never see a light of day? So give me y'all thoughts and y'all opinions on how y'all feel about that in the comment section below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this channel, share my videos, and follow me on Twitter. And once again, this is your boy JDauntless, and have a good day.